So we're going to get started. I'd like to call this meeting to order, Oconee County Council, February 20th. We will begin, as usual, with the public comment session. Now, we have quite a few tonight, so I'm going to ask that you stick to the 4-minute time limit. Ms. Smith will let us know when your 4 minutes are up, and once you hear that, please wrap it up so we can move on and let everybody have a chance to speak. So the first in line today is Mr. David Hubbard. You're up.
Council, Administration. My name's David Hubbard with Hubbard Paving and Grading. This concerns me about the land lease deal. I'm here to represent myself, contractors, and the small people of Oconee County. And we do have outsiders that come in and buy rock too, so I'm representing them also. Y'all, I took some pictures of some small vehicles going in and out of the rock crusher. That's some of the people that you're going to be hurting also, probably more than anybody. These other quarries, they can't go in there and get their own rock. They have to go somewhere else to, like a nursery or something like that to get, and they're going to pay top dollar for rock for sure then. But when y'all lease this and you don't have your income coming in that the county rock quarry is generating now, it's going to be left up to us to make it up. And then when you drive the prices up, people that's coming out of town into here is not going to come. So where's that going? The money going to come from? It's going to come from taxpayers. And I think all taxpayers in Oconee County is paying plenty now. And I get phone calls about having rock delivered to people's houses if they can make monthly payments, because it's already tough on them at $350, $380. I do it. I don't do it all the time, but I do it. Same way with driveways. If they can make payments, I'll do it. And then the price of asphalt, since you know that I sell asphalt, I don't know what the cost is going to do to that. I've got one company in here today. They've been buying since the doors were open. They got people out of North Carolina, Pickens, Anderson. When they're in this area, they buy from us. So in turn, when they're buying here from us, they're going to stop at a gas station. They're going to get their snacks, the drinks, whatever it may be. If they have a blowout, we tell them who to call here in Walhalla for a tire. You got local restaurants. You got Mountain View. I know y'all see a bunch of dump trucks parked there. It's a ripple effect. It's going to hurt everybody down the road. And I hope that y'all can see this. And I have one of my sons here trying to build him a future. But if you strip that away from us, and other contractors has family members too, they're trying to help build them a future. If you take that from us, then they ain't going to have nothing. You think he's going to go work for that company that's going to lease the rock quarry? Nah, he ain't going there. He's going somewhere else. But we've all worked with our bare hands, blood, sweat. These guys has all done this. Let's try to make something for our families, for our kids. And most of us contractors here in the county, we buy all our parts here in the county. We buy our fuel, our gas. So you drive us away, they ain't getting their income either. Then I want to talk about this $4 million that y'all bought the land that I'm sitting on, 54 acres. I still can't understand why y'all done that when you say you was building it for the rock crusher's future. Well, evidently it's not going to be the rock crusher's future if you lease this plan out. So I don't think that was a very good idea to buy that land if you're not going to use it for taxpayers. Local home builders here in the county, you have a cousin that's in the building. You don't see his rock because it's covered up or buried under the foundation. Now, you take all these builders that we haul rock for, that's a lot of money. So what they're going to have to do with their houses when they're pricing them out, they're going to have to go up. But guys, y'all need to really think what y'all doing. And one of these days we'll find out who's behind all this. We'll make sure you're voted out.
Mr. Wade Cobb.
Good evening. My name's Wade Cobb, and I'm part owners in Randy Cobb Grading. That's my dad. I'm here to speak on behalf of the public and all the people of Oconee County. In regards to the leasing of the Oconee County Rock Crusher. First, I would like to say this is a huge mistake. Not only are y'all jeopardizing the small companies, but also the people of Oconee. If the leasing companies were to take over, the prices will skyrocket. I contacted one of the possible considerations for the lease and spoke to them on prices. Crusher Run would jump to $19.50 a ton, which we all pay now $10.10 for that. Cleanstone would jump to $33 a ton. We all pay $12.10 for that now. This will drive all the business that Oconee County Rock Crusher has worked so hard to build away. This will hurt all the small businesses who have started from nothing and built up to what they are today. With customers not being able to afford the outrageous prices the new companies will bring, our businesses will suffer. Take all the trucks out of the county who cannot pay $33 a ton for gravel. The sales will go down for the rock crusher. Fuel will not be bought by the truckers. Independent family-owned restaurants will suffer with the loss of the workers in the area during the lunch hour. Tire service centers such as Super Service, a family-owned business, will also take a loss. The people don't understand. If you take somebody that's elderly, disabled, on a fixed income, how are they going to be able to afford these high prices that these new companies will bring? So they won't pay for gravel. They won't do it. So therefore their driveways will be a muddy mess, will not be accessible. So you tell me, if your driveway's rutted up 2 and 3 foot, how is that fire department or that rescue squad or EMT going to be able to get to your house to do their job to save your life or save your house? They're not going to be able to. I don't believe that one person's greed should justify all these businesses sitting in here today that it's going to affect. Because that is our rock crusher. We pay taxes on it. And I'm definitely not going to sit around and let all these big companies come in and take over. Because not only are they going to bring the rock, they're going to have the monopoly on the rock. They'll be able to afford 200 or 300 trucks. So they'll have paving, concrete. Look at Metricon. I guarantee you that Metricon truck, that boy stays steady, hauling out of there every single day, all day long. And you tell me how much that adds up. So if the price on rock goes up, then it's going to ripple. It's going to start slowly falling down the ladder. Your price on concrete's going to go up. Price on asphalt's going to go up. It's kind of like David said. All these builders are going to have to go up on their houses, because how can they afford to sell a house for what they have sold houses for in previous years if their rock cost $1,500 or $2,000 to fill in a foundation? I ask you to seriously think about how much this would affect the people of Oconee County. Take yourself out of it, because, like I said, one person's greed does not justify all the livelihoods of all these people sitting here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Randy Cobb.
I'm Randy Cobb with Randy Cobb Grading. Never been bashful about talking, never talked in front of a bunch of people. But I worked all my life right here in this county so I can make something for my son. Same way every one of these other contractors has too. That county don't belong to the county council. That Oconee County rock quarry belongs to each and every individual of Oconee County. There's rock being brought out of there and took to Pickens County, Georgia, North Carolina, and everywhere else. We've got so many people hauling gravel out of there. And if the money's gonna be spent, it needs to be spent to update, upgrade, and produce more rock. That's the only thing that the county's got that makes money, that turns in money. I know these big businesses come in here and they flash a big bunch of money. And it looks good to start with. But when you run out of that, what are we gonna do? Then it's gonna be left up to each and every one of us. There's people in here that that hauls a good bit of rock. We bring in probably 40, 45 loads a day out of there. Some of you know where we take it, where we work at. Like I said, I had a bunch I wanted to say before I got up here, and I mumbled through it. But I do want you to know that each and every one in this county, that rock crusher benefits. And without it, it's gonna hurt. And that's something that's gonna make money. It continues to make money. You can look at your figures that you've got. Why would you want to get rid of that? You know, the company that's looking at, or that's proposed on it or whatever, if there is a proposal, they say there's not. They've took over 45 companies in the last little bit. They sell asphalt, they sell concrete, they sell ready mix, and they've got trucking. What do you think that's gonna do to us as a small business? We run our business off a kitchen table. Some of these in here is bigger, some smaller. But it means a whole lot to each and every one of us. My boy's been going to that crusher with me ever since he could stand up in the seat of a truck. And I hate to see something that good that's for this county go to waste. The employees that they have at the Oconee County Rock Quarry, they're good people. They work with you. They try to help you. Do you think one of them big companies is going to help you? You'll have two choices. Take it or leave it. As Wade said, I don't think that the greed of one or two or whatever should jeopardize everybody. And before this thing's brought out, and I know you sat on the county council, but I think it should go for a county-wide vote where each and every individual in this county has a say-so on it. That's the way I feel about it. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Root, is it permissible to go out of order so that we keep like topics together?
It is, Madam Chair. If you just want to, it depends exactly what you want to do.
Well, I mean, we have several different topics to discuss here today, so can I keep all the rock quarry speakers together so we're not listening to different topics?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question first.
Okay,
Good
that's what I wanted to know. Okay, so that being the case, Mr. Tommy Crumpton.
Council members, I'm here today to oppose the leasing of Oconee County Rock Quarry. I put 27 hard years into Oconee County, and we set it up to help the people of Oconee County. We didn't set it up for the big contractors to come in here. You've got good employees out there. All you need to do is invest a little money. All these years, we were supposed to be setting money aside to replace equipment. What happened? Has it been set aside? But I can't understand if it's good for another contractor or another quarry to come and buy the quarry, why isn't it good for Oconee County? I mean, it's better for us and it is them, like they said. If a rock goes up to $33 a ton, your customers is going to leave. Your customers is going to Liberty. That is the reason Oconee County Quarry has done so good. We've been able to keep the price of rock down. That's the reason county roads is up to standard. There's so much that the people is gonna lose if you sign a lease and let the lease go with somebody else. Say you sign I don't know, I've heard a 99-year lease is what was proposed. A 99-year lease, there won't be any of us around to see it in. Plus, you're here to represent the people, and I think the rock quarry is something that represents the people, even though the school teachers went on strike when we was trying to get a meeting, $340,000 to put up the first quarry. The teachers needed a raise, but they went on strike. But then after that, they have seen the profit come in. And that's all I got to say. I just here to represent the people and of Oconee County. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Robbie Lee?
I'm Robbie Lee of Lee's Ground Covers, another business that operates here in Oconee County. Have lived here my whole life, operated here my whole life. With that being said, I can make the same argument that my peers have today, but I want to ask you a couple other questions and give you a couple things to ponder and think on. If you open this up for a lease, is it just going to be a closed door lease? That's something that's set up by companies coming in making an offer? Or would it be open to the people of the county, where the people of the county could form a partnership or a LLC or something and take it over themselves, have an opportunity to make that bid? The other thing I wanted to bring up is like closing the mine. Whose responsibility under a lease would it be to close the mine, to make sure that it's put back to DHEC standards? Would that responsibility fall back on Oconee County as being owner of the property? And then third thing with a lease is if you set this lease up and a company comes in here, would you have a set amount of stone they could remove annually and then there'd be a royalty on top of that? Or would it be free for all, go in there, wipe out all of our acreage, our 100 years worth of stone in 10 years and we're left with just a hole in the ground? No reason to keep a lease then because there's no rock coming out of it. Just some points I wanted to bring to mind for you. I know our big issue right now, and I respect the council and administration's due diligence on looking into ways to save the county taxpayers money. And I understand the cost of putting in a new plant's considerable. I understand the cost of buying the land's considerable. But with that being said, I believe that you could look into the idea of charging a higher rate for non-county owned businesses. I'm not saying that you charge a higher rate for gravel going to Pickens or Anderson or Greenville, but if you charged a higher rate based on whether the business buying it, purchasing it, was located and operated in Oconee County versus the rate for outside non-county residents, then you could offset the cost of this new plant, or at least some of it, and at the same time you could encourage companies that are building in Pickens County or wherever to use contractors here in Oconee County because they're going to get a better rate on their gravel that way. And that puts more people to work in Oconee County. It sells more fuel in Oconee County. It buys more tires in Oconee County, more parts in Oconee County, more trucks running on the roads that are paying more taxes to the county, and more employees working. It would be a win all around. And what little bit of revenue that you would lose as far as selling less gravel would soften the cushion of spending more for a plant that would have to produce more. I think we could look at even a temporary situation, because I know our biggest issue at the quarry right now is trying to keep washed-on, 1-inch washed-on. Why can we not look at bringing in a portable crusher or something to help get us through this? I know with Randy's situation, even at Duke, that's going to end at some time, and that quantity's not going to have to be quite as great. There's temporary solutions. I know y'all are doing your due diligence to look through all of the different options. That's why you're considering this. But I truly ask you to look beyond the picture of just the amount that the opportunity is for the lease. Because the lease is going to really hurt us as Oconeans. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Barry Nichols? Mr. Nichols?
My name is Barry Nichols, and as I look around the room, I see a lot of the younger people here. Folks, I can remember when the doctor couldn't even get into our road up there on Tunneltown because of the weather, because of the mud. But Mr. Shirley, who was the supervisor at that time, when he found out about it, he took care of it. That's the only story I've got. I got a couple of things I'd like to talk about for just a moment. These folks have already presented all the arguments that should have to be presented. That rock crusher out there belongs to the people of Oconee County. It belongs to all these people. The ones that's gone and the ones that's going to be coming. You wonder what this is? This is like a little diary thing that I've kept over the years. For instance, I can go back to 2009, and guess what was discussed here at that time? If there was a vote to sell and or lease the Oconee County Rock Crusher, how many would vote to do this? Now, that was in 2009. So you see, this is not a new subject. However, I went on down here and said, this property belongs to the people of Oconee County if, and somebody's already said this tonight, if it's up for lease or sale, it should be a referendum, and all the people of Oconee County should be able to vote on it. That comes from 2009. I'm going back to 2007. Just to show all you folks what some of the things that have been discussed here in Oconee County Council chambers, and Mr. Crumpton back there can remember. For instance, the fire department. How many of you would like to see the fire department privatized and sold out to somebody else? It's been discussed. Thank goodness that we had some on the county council through the years that did not want to give it away. My concern with this is that sometime in the future, the administrators or the council will, like the first administrator who brought this up, decide the privatizing of the fire department and the sellout of these taken away from another part of Oconee's heritage and freedom. And I know you want to speak about the rock crusher, but I got one more subject to talk about. You know me, I like to keep on going.
Yeah, you have 20 seconds, so,
Well, it's going to take a little bit more than 20 seconds, but I'll close it out.
okay.
And that's this deal with Clemson University trying to steal almost 8 acres of land from Oconee County. If you let them steal 8 acres, the next thing they'll get is across railroad over there where Jacob's Chuck used to be, and then the next one that's going to be is down where north and south where the old J.P. Stevens plant was at. If you let them get a foot in, they'll take it all.
That's true.
I think these folks have pretty well set a pattern for you folks up there and for the administrator tonight. And I hope you listen to them and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schuler.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Al Schuler. I'd like to tell y'all to start out with, all of you people, I'm here for y'all. I mean, I didn't know this was happening, but I'm here for y'all. I'm also going to tell you that anybody tells you there's not a lease deal running, there is a lease deal. And people that don't want to know that there's a lease deal, they ought to keep their laptops where I can't look over their shoulder and read it. So there is a deal. The rock crusher's money maker. There is no reason why Oconee County ought to give a money maker away. There's none whatsoever. Maybe you have to raise it a little bit. A lot of these fellows don't want to pay a little extra for what they're gravel, but maybe you have to do it. But keep it and make the money on it. I can promise you that Al Schuler, if there is a lease and there is a deal, that Al Schuler is going to publish in the paper whoever it is in Oconee County that made the money off of it, because somebody's making money somewhere. And I'll find out who it is, and I'll put it out there for y'all to read it. You do not want a referendum, because a referendum is the hardest thing in the world to do. If you want to win a referendum, you got to get out there to everybody in the county and let them know what's happening. Tell them the pros and cons. Don't do a referendum. Let these people up here make up their mind whether they want to get elected next time or not. I mean, it's just that simple. Because it's like I say, somebody, if there is a lease, somebody in Oconee County will make $1 off of it, and it won't be none of y'all. Facts are facts. And whoever gets the money made off of it, well, I don't care how far you bury it or how good, how crooked you are, I can find it. I can find anything. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Schuler. Okay. On that note, there are no more signed up to speak about the rock quarry, so let's move on to the fire. Gene Jennings, it's your turn. Fire Department at Oakway School.
Good evening, County Council. I'm Jean Jennings, and like Mr. Schuler, I support all these rock crusher people and the fireman that's here tonight. I'm going to speak on two things. One will be the old Oakway Elementary School. The other one will be the fire department, and I'll start with the fire department. I wanted to ask Mr. Davis. I understand you were wanting to bring the municipal fire departments under the county rural fire. Let me say right here and now, I don't agree with you or anyone else that thinks like that. The municipal fire departments need to stay like they are, not under the rural fire department. And I wanted to speak now on the old Oakway Elementary School, now known as the Oakway Fair Play Rec Department. And I believe, Mr. Davis, you're on that committee. And I notice in the meetings you're talking about what you're doing there, they're doing there, and what they're going to do. I wanted to ask some questions about the money. How much money is being taken in there by the people using the facility? How much is being paid for rent, places that they rent, for use of the building? How much money is being paid for that? How much is the Oakway and the Fair Play people putting in. Could you, with the help of Mr. Mulder, possibly get me a list of the figures on this? If you would, I would appreciate it. What is being paid and by whom and how much? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bo Horn, your turn.
Good evening. My name is Bo Horn. I represent the Picket Post, West Union, and Kiowee Ebenezer Fire Departments on the Fire Commission. The Commission is here tonight to thank you for the funds provided in last year's or this year's budget and to ask for your help to plan the future. Chairman Mason will soon introduce other members of the Commission. Unfortunately, some are delayed due to a emergency call. The Fire Commission represents 300 dedicated volunteers serving hazmat and 18 county fire departments. The separate Rescue Commission represents another 150. Together, these volunteers save all of us $7 to $15 million every year, depending on how you count the beans. Yet, even after this year's help, the emergency services budget still has a hole of $725,000 a year to complete the fire plan. So we're also here to emphasize volunteer needs and to ask that you provide certainty as to when they can be funded. The support you've provided this year has allowed us to expand staff and volunteer stations on weekdays when call volumes are highest and volunteer availability is lowest. Overall, we've made progress toward addressing the increasing volunteer workloads, and many of our response times are being reduced up to 50%. Stations now have 60% of work days for call responses, running stations, and compiling the huge information base required to retain the ISO 4 rating. 7 of 8 substations are complete and manned mostly by volunteers. The 8th will open soon. 97% of homes and businesses in rural areas within 5 miles of a station enjoy this rating regardless of hydrant distance because we're pretty good at hauling water. This rare feat is duplicated by only one other fire department in South Carolina. Last week, Senator Alexander told me our emergency services is a model for the state. Just yesterday, I learned he's proudly invited the state fire marshal to visit us this week and observe our model system in action. Substations, volunteers, and your support for Mr. Mulder's fire plan made these achievements possible. As we pursue completion of that plan, we need substantial additional funding. We must fill the budget hole to provide volunteers with the equipment and help they need and deserve. On average, we must replace trucks every 3 years to meet national standards. 3 trucks every year, excuse me. We've streamlined configurations and reduced truck costs by 20%. Overall, we need an additional $525,000 a year to replace trucks and small vehicles. We must also complete the job of placing 1 person in volunteer stations every weekday, costing another $250,000 a year. This does not address the need to improve EMS service, which is now being studied with GHS. More work is needed, but it appears quick response vehicles, not ambulances, may be a cost-effective option should you choose to explore it. Clearly, we have a superior organization, but we're working unpaid volunteers to death with training, growing calls, maintenance and operation of aging stations, and reporting obligations. Further, all volunteer departments simply cannot meet the expectations of many homeowners and businesses council is encouraging to move here. The volunteer chiefs have begged for help for years, and failure to completely fund promised help now appears to be a significant factor driving the problems with Clemson. We can no longer balance county books on the backs of volunteers. We cannot continue to fund incentives for growth while underfunding volunteers whose workloads are quickly increased by growth. This also applies to water supply and other critical services like law enforcement that our volunteers rely upon. The Fire Commission asks Council for certainty as to when our budget hole will be plugged. With that knowledge, we can properly plan future strategies and better utilize volunteer time to finish implementing the plan, one that is already considered a model for the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Michael Mason.
Good evening. I'm Michael Mason. I'm chairman of the Fire Commission, have been for too long now. A couple of our guys couldn't make it tonight. We do have Randy Lyles and Jan Oliver here. They represent districts, and so do I. And Bo and Fabian Skelton and Travis Collins is the other. You know, we appreciate the help y'all have given us. We know that everybody's asking for money. The 40-hour help we got was the most needed, and we've been saying that for years. I don't know why it took that long to get, but it really has paid off. We exist because we were created by a county council. We've got a very good working relationship with Chief King and Mr. Mulder. We try not to go to Mr. Mulder, especially unless we have a real problem. And when we do, he'll help us fix it. I mean, there's no issues there. We've made great strides that Bo talked about, and we can always improve. We represent all the fire departments in the county. They are municipal ones, but they're represented by Chief Oliver on the commission. So we do work together. Their funding structure is different, but as far as us working together, none of that has anything to do with anything. We try to keep them all happy. It's not easy keeping 300 people that know everything, you know, happy, and firemen think they know everything. We've got our own problems. And we try to deal with them, and that's why we don't like avoidable problems. And what I'm really here tonight about is an avoidable problem. It's really the same thing with this rock quarry. It's completely avoidable. Manufactured crises that don't need to happen. The quarry is obviously self-inflicted, and so is this. This issue keeps coming back, or keeps coming up. A new fire plan or a proposal to the municipalities keeps getting offered. It has not once come to the Fire Commission. We've not seen it written down. We don't even know that it exists, other than the fact that municipal leaders, I'm not talking about firemen, tell us about it. And we don't like the sound of it. It just keeps coming back. We've sent a couple of letters, you know, saying go away. It keeps coming back. We're approached about it to get our thoughts, but see, we don't know what the problem is because we don't know anything about it. If the Fire Commission don't know anything about it, nobody should know anything about it. We're free labor, but we're not going to be taken advantage of forever. We represent 300 people, so we can really make you do what we want you to do if we chose to do that. So, you know, basically what we're asking is if you're going to make any changes to the system, at least we should be involved in it. It took years for us to get properly funded, and we are now. And I'm talking like the volunteer level. We don't have to do fundraisers anymore. We spend enough time, paperwork, calls, and training, especially, where we shouldn't have to be cooking barbecue every night, and we thank you that we don't have to do that anymore. But if you do something to change it, it most definitely is going to affect us financially. And if you come after our money, then we're going to come after you. And that's just the only way to do it. We finally got it, and we feel like we're doing a good job. So we don't like to come up here and do this, but if there's another plan out there, it's time for us to see it written down on a piece of paper. And we prefer in the future, you know, we meet once a month. If you've got an idea, we're all open to ideas, because even though we know everything, sometimes we don't. We're more than happy to listen, but this going behind our backs to the cities just repeatedly is about at the end of our rope. So we just respectfully ask you to go through the proper channels to do that in the future, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mason. On that note, those are all the people who signed up for public comment. We do appreciate each and every one of you who came here today, whether you've spoken or not. We like to see you here at our meetings, even when there's nothing exciting to talk about. Any council members would like to chime in at this point in time?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McCall?
I'd like to personally thank each and every one of the truck drivers out here. You know how I feel about I'm with y'all. On the fire, Mr. Mason, I can't thank you enough, you and your volunteers. You provide a service that ordinarily we can never afford, ever. Unless, of course, you want to pay double, triple taxes. And it seems, and as you brought up, it seems to be that you're taking for granted. When budget comes up, this is my big thing. Budget ought to be first, police and fire. Your house catches on fire, you can't call the PRT director to put your house out. You gotta call somebody who knows what they're doing. And and it seems like we need to support the two top priorities, police and fire. Everything else, if we got the money, then we ought to funnel it down to there. Fire is serious. You can't call up and say, well, can you come out and fight the fire, maybe be there next week? It's too late. Lives get lost. And we do appreciate you very much. Thank you all.
Madam Chair, I believe Mr. McCall had some pictures, or at least he relayed that to Katie. This would be the time to show the pictures
Yes,
or what have you.
yes, go ahead. This is the rock crusher. This is the slurry truck. That's when you dumb councilman walking around. Got the video of the big boom. Here it is. It's a wall shot. They shot that last week. We already used all the rock up. That's how fast it's moving out of there. And we made another shot today. That'll last about another week. So they're rock crushing. Mr. Martin and them doing an excellent job. Very dedicated staff. And as these truck drivers have said, we cannot produce the product fast enough. That tells you something. We're doing something right. Thank you.
Madam Chair. Thank y'all for coming. I mean, this means a lot. I know, being a business owner myself, I know how changes are. This is your county. This is your council up here. And by y'all talking to us, this is how we get things accomplished. The sale of the rock quarry has never been very attractive to me. I know what it means to this area. I know the history behind the area. I know several people that work in the area. With the due diligence of, this group comes to us just like they have in 2009. Anytime, not just with the rock quarry, but anytime we do some research on this, my opinion at the rock quarry is to upgrade and invest in the quarry as it stands with the county, with the crusher and things like that. I understand. The biggest complaint I get out of the quarry is I don't get enough product, and I completely understand that. It doesn't take far to look at some of the other quarries and look at what their pricing is and why they're upset at our quarry here, in here. But I just wanted to, tell you that I do appreciate your investment in here, and I do appreciate that. And just to let you know, that's where I stand as a council member, and that's where I'll stand tonight. And from a fire perspective, I appreciate everything that y'all do to that, as well as all our citizens do, and I appreciate your service with that.
Madam Chair. Just to continue the conversation, I appreciate especially what y'all do, the volunteer fire corps we have. You really could get us if you wanted to. We do appreciate, we really appreciate what y'all do, putting your lives on the line, so I don't have to get up in the middle of the night and go put out fires. That's a huge asset. Y'all are a huge asset to this county. We do appreciate it. We will make sure that y'all are fully funded. Budget's always tight, but y'all, like Mr. McCall said, public safety is our #1 concern in this county. As to the rock crusher, y'all seem to know a lot more about this than I do. We're always, I've talked with Mr. Mulder, constantly, companies are coming in here asking us to sell or lease the rock quarry. This is not a new issue. But it is our job to look at it and see what are the pros, what are the cons. Well, I haven't even been presented with anything to look at. And I think right now, where it sits, I'm opposed to it, okay? I want y'all to assure y'all of that. But we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't even look at the proposal. I mean, that's what we're elected to do. There's a lot of things that come across our desk that, we don't even consider. And this may be one of those. But I assure you, if there is consideration of it further, it will be a public process. And that's, like anything else. But I want to assure y'all that we're going to look at it long and hard. Or we may look at it very short and throw it away. So, but we have to look at these things. I haven't even seen the terms. What are they offering? I mean, if they're offering us $1 billion and we can lower property taxes down to 0, would y'all ask me to say no? I mean, so we got to look at what they're offering here. I understand I'm a small business owner myself, but y'all elected us to consider the things that affect this county, and that's what we're going to do. So, and I appreciate y'all's input, and we will consider that heavily as we look at these decisions. So, thank y'all.
Anybody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Everything I say is going to be an echo of what Dave's already said. I do want to thank the firemen and you people that's depending on the rock crusher. I'll be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. On that note, we really need to move on. So please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. Mr. Root?
Yes, ma'am. Father, thank you for this day you've made. Thank you for the lives that you've given us. Pray that we be truly appreciative of all the good gifts you've given us. One of which be in this meeting tonight. I'm opposed. By your wisdom, that you would help all the decision makers to be that can come alongside and help and possibly be up to our neighbor.
Amen. Mr. Davis, the pledge.
Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You've had a chance to review the minutes from our previous meeting, February 6th. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any changes or corrections? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Mulder?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, thank you very much. I'll provide your agenda summary review. We have a public hearing, and subsequent to that public hearing, third and final reading of ordinance 2018-04. This would be an amendment to our Chapter 38 of our zoning ordinances for amending the commercial structure setback language to incorporate 0 lot line capabilities for commercial structures that share walls, such as shopping complexes that have multiple tenants. This provision would allow for those 0 lot lines between the tenants on that structure. Second reading is just one this evening, 2018-05. I will note that there is a requested amendment to the caption only on this particular ordinance. As you see in red as indicated on the agenda, we would like to amend the caption, but this particular ordinance would be to approve the business or office lease with Ms. Julie Ibrahim at the Oconee County Airport to utilize a portion of the hangars for an office to conduct her work closer to Clemson. First reading of the following ordinance is 2016-06. This would be an ordinance to amend and supplement the Oconee County Comprehensive Plan. We're under that review process currently as we speak. In your backup, you should have had the notice from the Planning Commission and the information from those discussions. Action items this evening. The one item is the purchase of a tractor. It's a Samurai boom mower. As you can see, we had a bid from the National Joint Purchasing Agreement. This particular tractor is the replacement of a tractor that caught on fire and was a total loss as it was mowing the slopes at the airport. The new tractor would be considered a 2017 John Deere 6105E. The amount that's associated with the national bid is $124,718.22. We tried to go through the state contract on this purchase through Alamo, who has the state contract. It was going to be 6 months for a delivery for that particular purchase agreement. So under the National Joint Purchasing Agreement, Alamo was able to find, located somewhere else in the country, a combo set that included the tractor and the Samurai boom mower as a package deal. And the price on that under the joint purchasing agreement was $124,718.22. As you know, the National Joint Purchasing Agreement is a partnership between South Carolina and other states where they go out for national bids on particular items, and this tractor was one of those. So the tractor is still a South Carolina purchase from a company who's located in South Carolina, but it's at one of their other locations. If we can get this one immediately, it's available to us as soon as council issues the purchase instead of having to wait 6 months. So that's why it's under the National Joint Purchasing Association or Agreement rather than the state contract. So we're asking for you to approve that bid to Flint Equipment Company of Simpsonville, South Carolina, in the amount of $124,718.22. We'll note out there was a insurance reimbursement on the total loss. I believe that was 74. Excuse me, I lost my page. $72,987.58. The remaining portion of that will come from the capital equipment portion of the budget for the road department in the general fund. So we subsidize the $51,730.64 in order to make the purchase. You do have board and commission appointments, or seats that are still open, no unfinished or new business. We do have 2 council committee reports this evening, and we still need both executive session items as indicated. One for the discussion of the property purchase at the Oconee County Rock Quarry, and the other is requested by Mr. Root to provide legal advice in regard to a potential claim against the vendor for failure to provide services. That's our agenda. Not too bad this evening, Madam Chair, so I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll begin with the public hearing for ordinance 2018-04. That is the ordinance regarding the setback language for commercial structures. Mr. Schuler, you signed up to make some comments? Okay, so I guess then no one has signed up. Okay, so that being the case, anybody would like to speak now, you may. Or if you'd like to hand written comments to our clerk, you can do that. And so no other interest in this ordinance, then I'll close the public hearing. So we're ready for third reading of ordinance 2018-04. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor? Aye. Second reading of the following ordinance. 2018-05, this is regarding the lease at the airport for Julie Ibrahim. Were we supposed to make a motion to amend this?
Yes, ma'am. If you could just have a motion to approve in a second, and then after you do that, we'll have a motion to amend the caption as stated in red. It's just revising that language. It was a residential lease, it's an office lease, and inserting the right address.
Okay. So I need a motion to approve 2018-05.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on this?
And need a,
Now we need a
Madam Chair, I
motion
make a
to
motion to
amend.
amend.
Second.
Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor of the whole thing as amended? Aye. Thank you. First reading of ordinance 2018-06 to amend and supplement the Oconee County Comprehensive Plan.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Action items, the tractor with the Samurai boom mower.
Motion to approve the purchase.
Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Do we have anybody for the board and commission appointments?
Yes.
Hey,
Finally, got Mr. Ernie Lombard, the Conservation Board Bank District 2.
Lombard.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that was Conservation Bank. Anybody else? Any unfinished business? Any new business? I'd like to bring to your attention under new business, I'd like to call your attention to a bill in the House, South Carolina House Bill 4945. It was sponsored by several Republican and 2 Democratic representatives. They are looking to sell Greenville Hospital System. They're not happy with the leadership there and how the leaders created a separate entity and basically robbed the community of their hospital. And so they're looking to establish a bidding process to sell Greenville Hospital System, appoint an interim president to preside, and an interim board for the moment. The idea is that once they sell the hospital to a third entity, somebody new will come in and run the hospital, hopefully better than it's being run now. They would also like to see the proceeds from the sale go to the member hospitals for improvements. And one of the phone calls I received was, remember, you want those EMS improvements. Okay, then maybe you want to support this bill. So feel free to read it on the South Carolina website and form your own opinion as to whether this is a positive or a negative. Council committee reports. Ms. Kamick, Budget, Finance, and Administration. Where are my notes? The Budget, Finance, and Administration Committee met on February 13th at 5:30 p.m. The agenda was amended to include a short public comment session to allow the contractors to allow and hear them speak regarding the future of the rock quarry. The agenda was also amended to include an executive session for the purpose of discussing an economic development matter that was related to Lakeside Lodge. We discussed in the committee priorities to be considered in our upcoming strategic planning meeting. Some of those priorities came from the Transportation Committee, some from Facilities and Real Estate, some from Public Health and Law Enforcement. Examples are improvements to the road and parking and safety for Lakeview Assisted Living, completion of the road by the Treasurer's Office, complete the scanning of plats so that they are all available in electronic form, and of course, continuing to pursue Sewer South. We discuss continuing to improve our recycling centers, increase marketing plans to improve recycling rates, continue looking into EMS improvement, the possibility of funding the additional law enforcement investigators. We looked at long-term goals of expanding youth activities and mentoring with the Sheriff's Department. The Ag Commission chimed in. They would like to see us promote the Farm Center and include road signage that speaks to economic impact of agriculture in Oconee County. We approved the budget calendar for this year. We also attempted to discuss impact fees. There was no interest in discussing that. Mr. Root told us that in order to implement the program properly would require at least $50,000 to $75,000. We didn't like that. We also discussed our airport. We are at the break-even point now. Hangar rentals and fuel are the main sources of revenue. It's costing minimal to the taxpayers. We do offer competitive rates on our hangars and fuel. We looked at the cost to build 10 new additional hangars to be roughly $1 million. So we will continue these discussions at the next Budget, Finance, and Administration meeting. Mr. Davis, real estate.
Real estate facilities land management met on February 13th. We started at 7:08 here in council chambers. Approved the minutes from the November 14th meeting. We developed a strategic plan. Top on the strategic plan was the Westminster Magistrate. We made a motion which was approved 2-0 with Mr. McCall abstaining from that, to enter into an agreement with the City of Westminster for a 9-month process of, as they look toward building a city hall along with us building a magistrate. So the council will bring forward, or the commission will bring forward a motion to council to accept that agreement. We also talked about the Pine Street security here for our county offices, and we talked about several park upgrades and ADA compliant bathrooms and Chaw Ram and several of the parks. We also had a presentation from the Farm Center update about the road is in. They do have access to the property, and they talked about several of the plans that they have on there, as well as opening up the farmers market in April and having the fair at the new site this year, September 25th, 2018 through September 29th. This presentation was given by Mr. Stanley Gibson, a member of the board, and they have secured a $12,000 grant to offer education and health benefits of fresh fruit and vegetables and to increase farming in the area. And they're going to be having several workshops in the farmers market. And he also spoke about their board meeting for the Farm Center. It's Tuesday, February the 20th. So as stated in that, I bring forward the motion to enter into an agreement with the City of Westminster to go forward in our $500,000 that we have put aside for the building of a magistrate's office, a county magistrate's office in there. And I guess that's my motion.
Second.
Madam Chair, if I could at this point, and that, as I understood that motion, it was going to be to convey the county's commitment to explore that.
Correct, that's
All right,
correct.
so just so as long as we're not doing any final action, not committing any funds, then we're
No.
fine, okay. And of course, the money's not set aside yet, also.
No.
Evaluation process.
I was going to mention that in the discussion
We're fine.
part.
No, ma'am. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I just wanted to make mention of the fact that we're just exploring the possibilities at this point.
Yes, ma'am.
I do want to also make mention of the fact that the magistrate really needs a new space. It's really disgusting over there. And so, yes, let's vote on this.
Any other discussion?
Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
For those of you who don't know the reason I didn't vote, the gentleman gets up there from Westminster. He's got no plans, just a rough estimate of what it might cost to build a joint city offices, city council chambers that the magistrate's gonna use. And I think for $500,000, the county, you you see office buildings all the time for sale, 250,000 land, building and everything. For $500,000, we don't need to partner with anything. We could build, and I agree with Ms. Cammy, that the magistrate needs an office. But, and I think we could look at building the whole thing for $250,000 if you had to. I mean, you look into commercial real estate, what's available out there for sale right now. A lot of office space. And that's the reason I didn't vote. I just couldn't believe this, that you're up here and there's no plan, no location, no nothing. Well, we could do this, we could do that. That's not very good business practice, and I just took issue with it. I didn't mean to offend anybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, could I respond to a few of those comments? Just make you aware, absolutely, Mr. McCall. Actually, we did look at and had it studied to look for available commercial buildings in Westminster. There's not a whole lot of suitable places that wouldn't cost a fortune to renovate and make ADA compliant, which this facility would be required to do. So when we studied it, we looked at the cost per square foot to actually take one of those buildings in Westminster and make it suitable. It was going to be, the value of the building wasn't worth putting that kind of money into it. So where the $500,000 came from, and I want to make sure I point this out, is we did look at building a new facility, and that was the estimate in order to locate a spot and build a new building. It was a maximum of $500,000. There was a whole space needs assessment study done years ago that was sent out to the council, and I'll dig it up and send it back out to you again. And that's where that number came from. So we've had it in our books to build a new facility. The city of Westminster came to us and said, hey, would you be willing to do a joint facility? And that was the discussion that was had at the real estate committee. I just wanted to point out, we did look for a suitable place. I personally have been in 4 different buildings in Westminster that the purchase price would be suitable for us to go in and still invest money in renovating it and make it ADA compliant. None of them were going to be suitable, and they'd have costed it more than building brand new. So I wanted to agree with you, the brand new construction was the better option for $500,000.
Why is it?
That's why they asked us if we would entertain a joint facility to maximize resources and share space instead of building something by itself.
My next question is, why is it that whenever the county builds something, we always get took to the cleaners? And everybody else builds it cheaper.
We don't always get taken.
We got a big target on our backs, says kick here?
No, sir. As a matter of fact, the county built the South Cove maintenance, South Cove offices for less than $300,000. You know what a contractor price was on that?
Yeah.
$750,000.
Yeah, well,
Bounty Land Substation.
If we get late to do it, it's great.
Bounty Land Substation would have costed us more than $1 million for a contractor to do it. Guess what we're building it for?
What I'm saying is,
Less
every
than
time we get a
$500,000.
contractor to do it, it costs us, I was talking about the contractor.
That's what I'm trying to imply, the contractors, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that was gonna
We
cost
get
us
to
more
it.
money. So I'm not saying we got took into the cleaners, because we're not. We're actually choosing to do some of these things ourselves.
Well, we do it ourselves,
save
it
money.
comes out successful. But
Yeah.
every time
And
we get a
comes out
contractor to do it,
And
we
comes
get
out-
took.
That's right.
Yeah, but
But
we're
the way
limited
you're-
on how much we can build. We don't own a construction company.
I'm pushing them to the limits as much as I can.
I know, but they've got to take care of the Bounty Land Fire Station now. That's the next on the list.
And we could take care of Westminster after that one,
Mm-hmm.
if we can, delay it for a year or so. We could. We don't have the money yet to even build it. We still gotta find that, so it may take us a year to even find.
And you and I have already been talking about that,
Yes,
so.
ma'am.
Mhm.
All right, I guess I'll call for a vote then.
And just.
It's no money, it's just a,
The vote is to explore the possibility.
That's correct.
Okay, and we will continue to explore all possibilities until something makes sense.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All opposed? None?
Okay,
Oh,
thank you.
Hang on one
Oh,
second.
more?
Yep, I just had we did talk about the engineering for the Sewer South, and we submitted a grant application in March. Still waiting on some construction drawings and cost estimates and everything through there. And if I didn't announce in attendance, it was Julian Davis at Akamic and Wayne McCall. Thank you.
Okay, we do need to recess now for executive session to receive legal advice in relation to and discuss potential claim against a vendor for failure to provide agreed-upon services, and also to receive legal advice regarding potential property purchase at the Oconee County Rock Quarry. Do I hear a motion to recess?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Convene.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. No action was taken in executive, no action was taken in executive session. We do have two issues to deal with.
Yes, Madam Chair, if I could have a motion to direct the county attorney and county administrator to work to resolve a claim against the vendor as noted in the executive session item as discussed during executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
You on?
Yeah, I'm on. I make a motion for the council to redirect the administrator to proceed with the purchase of the new equipment and upgrades necessary to maintain the county rock crusher.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to amend that motion that removes the current potential property purchase at the Oconee County Rock Quarry.
Definitely.
I need a second on that.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on that? We'll vote on the amendment first. All in favor of the amended motion?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor of the motion as amended?
Aye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the rock crusher remains ours. We will be purchasing the new equipment. Thank you all for sticking around, and thank you all for coming today. Now, please come next time also. Don't give up.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion for us to enter into executive session for
Need to amend the agenda.
make a motion to amend the agenda to add an executive session item in discussion of the annexation with Lakeside Lodge Lot 8 in Hartwell Village.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
One more executive session tonight. Motion to recess one more time to
Motion to-
executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
reconvene.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No action was taken in executive session. We do need to consider one matter, though.
Madam Chair, if I could have a motion to direct the county administrator along with the county attorney and the economic development director to engage in negotiations with Project Lakeside to discuss economic development incentives consistent with neighboring developments, contingent upon no annexation into the city of Clemson.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.